G'day everyone, Scrub here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another Broken Arrow low elo match review to run through together. Should be a good one. Of course, if you want to jump ahead and get straight to the action, please click on the timestamp currently on the screen, and it will dive you right directly into the action. Otherwise, if you want to hang around and have a little bit of a yap, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, so of late, haven't really had much chance to play Broken Arrow. Been a bit tricky to find time for game, and when I have done, they have been interesting to say the least. Definitely playing a lot more than I used to, but still kind of coming across a lot of the issues that I'm sure many of us are experiencing. I don't think there's been a single match that I've had where we haven't had a single person leave on either of our teams. Actually, no, there was one. I think it would have been that damn match where we had a full team until the very end. But putting that aside, having a lot of fun getting back into the game. Devs definitely do need to introduce some of the patches very soon, because I think a lot of us are kind of going mad. Outside of that, still running my Special Forces Armoured. I'm getting very close to unlocking that cool portrait, which you get at level 5 specialization. So hopefully you should have that soon. Been hovering around the 650 to 680 elo. I think with this match I was just coming from a 4-loss game streak, where 2 matches we failed to have 2 people load in, and then the other ones were kind of quite close games. Russia is pretty tricky at the moment, to be honest, and I'm still kind of getting my head around it. I think a big part of it is just if you don't have the right tools to kind of deal with the stuff they're throwing at you, it can be a bit tricky. But putting that aside, we're playing on Kaliningrad today. I'm not exactly a big fan of this map, but it is what it is. I tried my best to get Black Coast, but just gotta cop it. Unfortunately, in my own experience, this map's a bit of a noob trap. Honestly, it's just due to the fact that both teams can so very quietly chill on each side of the map and just lob artillery at each other, which is not really super fun. And the last time I did play on this map, we completely ate shit and we lost the game after I think 5 minutes because we got sudden death, which was awesome. Of course, starting with my normal opening now, I have more or less abandoned my tank and Shorad build. It's just too slow. Genuinely, biggest lesson I've learned since returning back to the game with the latest patches, you got to be quick. Like, you can't be waiting 5 minutes to get your tank up to the front. You need infantry, and you need particularly anti-aircraft, AA up to the front as quickly as possible. I do a bit of a hybrid rollout here, going with some snipers, Rangers RECON, and then 2 stingers. At this point, I am bringing my stingers out on a war pig, but I decided to switch them out for 2 of the SOF little vehicle things. They are insanely fast, and yeah, I'm all for it. But definitely should be a good game. Going into this game, I kind of really wanted to try a couple new things and try and be a bit more, not selective, but more aware of the units I was selecting, and trying to bring units that kind of sync well together, bring the units that I need before I actually need them, which is a mistake I've made a lot in the past, where I've just, I need anti-tank, but I don't have any anti-tank there, and I just kind of eat shit. And I play, way too aggressively at that point, which is kind of what I'm doing right now with my F-22. Got very lucky dodging this missile, which, spoilers, I do dodge this one, but get greedy, I want to get that extra missile off, and due to that, and not really paying attention, I lose my Raptor. Which is unfortunate, but, it is what it is. At this point, they've slightly got a little bit kill lead on us, but it's not the worst. Only 40 points, but we more or less neutralized the air opener, so yeah, we're kind of even. Big rollout from my teammates, bringing in a lot of stuff by helicopters as well as some light vehicles. Kind of goes to show the fact that you need to still contest the air war, or at least have some stuff up, because the amount of times that I've seen, I've had my own helicopters be shot down, or even I've shot down other people's helicopters that were transporting units. It just happens to, it happens too common. So it happens too often, sorry. I did decide to bring up some Delta Force and some Rangers to add a bit more anti-tank and then a bit more infantry punch. The Rangers Recon aren't necessarily the worst, it's just with only a single one of them, they're a bit, yeah, they're not the best. My Rangers Recon is set as the close combat loadout, so they don't really do too well with our vehicles, particularly light infantry vehicles. So hopefully that's what the Rangers are for. Huge fan of these little quick zoomy trucks. I absolutely love them, and I think I might have been raving in the last game about them as well. I can't exactly remember, as it's been a while since I've recorded. It's just so good. Oh my god, just the little Gatling guns you get, and sorry, not Gatling, the grenade launchers, just tear things apart if people aren't respecting them. I'm pulling him back now to kind of be a little bit of a weasel and run him around the back of the enemy's lines over near H-Way, but I don't. I kind of, that was the plan initially, to run around there, but I realised my RRC it definitely cannot fight off a boomerang by itself. So there's that. Stingers are now in the high rise, showing one of the main focal points of this map, which is all the high rise buildings. Definitely, next time I run this match, I will be bringing a lot more snipers and trying to get that early recon positions way earlier, just by the fact of how important they are, particularly for your artillery and for, just getting a read on what your opponent's doing. Of course, being way too greedy at this point and just trying to lob an extra missile at that boomerang, but, doesn't really do anything because I'm pretty sure the missile or the grenade, whatever, the big boom gun they have is ineffective against that type of armor. But, it is what it is. Moving up the Delta Force and the Rangers now to provide a bit of covering fire for that road right there. Biggest consideration right now is to bring up some anti-tank. I'm not really super keen on flying anything in by helis exactly at this moment. I'm not sure if I've actually called some AGLs at this point, but I think quite soon I do bring up some AGLs to just stay in that build in the skyscraper right there and, pink away and and just have the option to put a ton of suppressing fire on anything coming down A from K. Which I think that's it now. I can just hear it in the speaker. Moving the Delta Force over because I'm being a little bit, probably too cautious, but never a bad thing. I'm not sure what type of opponent I'm versing and how responsive they will be with their artillery bombardments and their return fire. I think at this point I'm actually bringing up the AGLs, so here we go. 2 AGLs and a little bit of supplies to kind of help my Stingers out. So they have launched a couple of volleys, which didn't really do much because the missiles were intercepted by those buildings. But yeah, always good to have the Stingers kind of ready to fire. Teammates pushing up quite aggressive to capture A, just to kind of create a little bit of a put a little bit of pressure on them. At this point, I cannot, at this point, it's probably better that when we don't have many units on the field and people can't really respond to it. And even now, we got a really good view into the opponent's area, and we can see that they don't have many anti-infantry stuff. So they've got a lot of anti-tank, a bit of anti-air, and there's some recon, similar to us. But the component is they won't be able to really deal with anything we kind of bring there. So good on him. And that, I don't think that place even changes hands at all this game. We kind of capture it quite early on. I've got my Morse team and Delta Force coming up in some AMPVs to provide a bit of extra fire support for down this lane. I really wish I had some tows because just setting them up in that building facing directly down that road would be excellent. Of course, could probably be countered by... Oh, sorry about that, I'm yawning. Of course, could probably be countered by some smoke, but we're low ELO at this level. We don't use smoke. Running my snipers back because if I can see their snipers, they're more than likely can see my snipers as well. So they're bringing in some cruise missiles. Still in that early stage of the game, trying to get a read on my opponent, and I wasn't quite sure if they were. Running a proper V meta deck. We're not really seeing any spam, but that's probably a good signifier that we're not dealing with that deck. But we're getting cruisers nonetheless, so it's really important to keep my stuff super mobile. And now I'm just communicating with my teammates, just by the fact that I'm not not familiar with, you know, countering cruisers and all that type of stuff. Pulling my rangers back to get back to my defensive line. Oh shit. Yeah, it might be a bit hard to tell, but I've recorded this. I've done this recording 2 times over already. I went to go through the whole process of editing the video, and unfortunately, it's just corrupted, and Caden Live keeps dying, regardless of what I do. So I'm here recording again. Hopefully, this time it won't bug itself out, and I'll be able to actually use this recording. Bringing up my pack system with some additional supplies, as well as I've got my Sentinel up there. So yeah, pack system to provide a bit of AA to help me intercept those cruise missiles. And I'm not entirely sure if I've called my PFAD system in yet, but I do bring in one of those now just to be a little bit of a counter for those cruise barrages when they do send them. I'm doing my best to keep my infantry from behind the building. We've got tons of recon facing at the point, and I would much prefer to kind of be hiding behind than on the point where they can see us and potentially, you know, land some decent cruisers. Or even artillery, for the matter of fact. A lot of big wave being built on the left at G from my teammate as he's preparing to push across to F to capture that point. Here we go, moving up the PFAD system. Okay, at this moment, quite a slowish game. A lot of harassment. Unfortunately for the enemy team, they have had a player drop, so that's not really the best for them. They are a player down. So if they're going to be aggressive, this is really now the time to do it. Look, even just viewing the game now and seeing how these cruisers interact, unless you're really spamming them, they're kind of a waste of, you know, resources. Look, he took out a lav, he took out some other stuff, and everything else was really intercepted. It's kind of a weird thing where if you're not really coordinating super well with your team and you're being a bit passive, you're just going to be shooting cruise missiles into a very strong AA net, which doesn't really do anything. Signaling to my teammates some very juicy artillery spots that they can target. Big thing for this game is artillery. I've taken the artillery pill, and they are definitely worth it, and I understand why so many people run them, and people even play full support, because it would just be fun playing this game and just doing support artillery the whole game. You know, doing a bit of cat and mouse, moving stuff out, you know, doing all that good stuff. It'd be super fun, but yeah, artillery is kind of crazy, particularly with laser guided artillery shells. It just wrecks shit. Yeah, and as I was saying before, one of the big things I went into this game was wanting to prioritize only having the units that I actually need on the field, as well to maintain my line, as well as having a nice combination of different units that kind of make up for each other's deficits. So like making sure I got anti-tank, anti-infantry, a bit of AA. Proper long-range AA with my Patriots and stuff. Just building a bunch of units that kind of really work well together, just so I can have a high enough income to be able to really take advantage of my F-35s as well as my F-22s when the opponent brings out their big long cruise missile bombers or whatever they're called. I think the American ones are called Stratus. I don't know, something Fortress. Who knows? It's all good. Bit of poor micro on this side. I've somehow have put my stingers back in the apartment complex, which is, you know, always really good. So they're not even doing their thing right now, which is, you know, fine. Bringing up a RECON Bradley with some more snipers to get a bit nice view into A going on to K. PFAD's moving up as well. This is I am now, you know, alongside of like, you know, understanding how good artillery is. Bloody these PFAD systems and being able to shoot down cruise missiles is crazy good. Like, holy shit, it just does such a wonderful. It works so well, and I never really brought it before because at least with running armored special forces, you have such a small tab for your support tab. So I never really had the, you know, resources for it. Floating a bunch of points at the moment now, but finally bringing in my AA. I I kind of want to hang around that 300 to 400 mark, so it could be like a second or two for me to bring out an F-35 to counter any type of, you know, messiness that might be coming my way. At this point it became very passive. We've had a stable phase 1. My plan of going into phase 1 and just focusing on building a strong defensive line and making sure I have a good unit composition is working quite well. Thankfully as well, due to my teammates being quite aggressive. Lime green on the left is being crazy sicko and going completely after H like a madman. Switching my Patriot system on, getting my radar going so I can shoot some shots. And does anything even get through? No, nothing. Which goes to show you there's really no point. There's no point not bringing out a big cruise missile strike, but if you've got effective AA up, particularly US AA, you're not really going to achieve anything. You're just kind of like just shooting a bunch of points at the wall for no real gain. Teammate running up his Delta Force to get some units in that A point, just to probably act as a little bit of counter for anything that wants to sneakily come and steal that point. Doing my best with my laser to assist my teammate in dealing with those snipers that we saw earlier, which would be scoping out my units right now. Yeah, so far, turn 1, doing quite well. Sorry, phase 1, doing quite well. As we're heading into phase 2. We're going to end this portion of the game with 2 points up, which is, you know, very nice. Tons of shots coming in right now. I know this is like, I realize at this point, like, hey, wait a second, I might be getting pinked by some, you know, on this side of the map, but my Bradley can just tear those guys apart, and it's, you know, perfectly in range of perfectly in range of my Bradley. So might as well just start plinking them away to at least make them move off a point. Really nice recon location as well to kind of get a big view down that street right there. The power of recon, holy shit, it is crazy. The meme is real, where people start accusing you of cheating and stuff, and you'll see that later on in the match if you hang around. But we do get accused of cheating in this game. But yeah, it wasn't due to cheating. It was just due to us having recon and being able to see all your shit. Moving up the F-35 to be a little bit of a bomb strike on those AA pieces, just before we just before I went quiet there, and I drank of water. I probably should have been paying a bit more attention in the game, but I wasn't, and yeah, those AA dudes just pulled back. So you know, that it is what it is. Complete waste of 160 points for no reason. Artillery finally getting to the front as I'm bringing up some more supplies, floating a nice lot of points, using my sniper to be able to pinpoint any unit location for us to be able to drop some artillery on them. Patriots all field, and yeah, you know, phase 1's ended and we're doing quite well. We control the complete east side of the map. We have now moved, my teammate has moved a bunch of units up to F to kind of apply a bit of pressure over there. We're not really experiencing any main assaults coming from across the other side of the river, and we've more or less been given complete prerogative to, you know, be given the complete power to kind of do what we need to do on this side of the map. Getting at this point, I kind of realized I'm starting to slowly understand the power of having all this extra recon on the field. So I'm bringing in a little bit of extra some snipers and some RRC to get into all those skyscrapers on the left side of the map. If we're able to get a little bit of recon, even like a single sniper, we would have complete vision of that whole side. You know, it goes to really show how definitely goes to show how having eyes on and being able to have vision over your enemy movements is incredibly important in a game like this. Bringing up a little bit of extra AA to add a bit of support for a lot of the I get the feeling but my opponent's starting to, you know, use extensive helicopters at this moment, so it's always good to have a bit extra. particularly to support my teammates. You would think they would be using their own artillery to bomb very obvious stinger locations, but they're not. Here we go. Little bit of a artillery push, sorry, helicopter push coming on the left towards my teammate.
Artillery on the move. Mission is over.
We've got a nice balance of, you know, 2.5 people coming towards F, A, and what's another map? G? D. D's having a pretty big push at this moment. I decided to move my stingers over that side of the map to kind of provide a bit of artillery AA support, because if you're getting pushed with helicopters, you're more than likely also going to be experiencing an armored push as well. Setting my Moors as well to provide a bit of additional support to the D flank to help them out. Just trying to pick targets with my Iron Thunders as well. Keep them constantly moving, keep them constantly shooting, which is always what you kind of have to do with artillery. Yeah, teammate, you know, my ally is not doing so good. You know, immediate critique and can kind of label it myself right now is I'm not sending anything over to help my teammate on F. Like, you know, he does have quite a nice little combination of units on that side, but if you're getting that big push of helis, even just sending some killer eggs myself, because I run killer eggs with the anti-air setup, just because they're, you know, really, really nice to be able to provide a quick response force. So it won't be long until my tank's kind of moved up to the front lines. I don't think my tank even sees any bit of action at this point. The main reason for me bringing it up was to provide well, I get in a rock paper scissors formula of, you know, anti-tank deals with anti-tanks, tanks deal with tanks. So I kind of wanted to have a nice set free quite close to the front line in case there was any push coming. Of course, you know, I'm probably not even over giving my opponent too much credit, but rather I'm being probably a bit too cautious, because and this is the point of a match where I start to kind of, you know, fail at my plan to only really to float a lot of points and take full advantage of my planes and stuff, because I get a bit, you know, bit overwhelmed with everything that's going on, and I'm a little bit too focused on trying to make it, you know, trying to get value out of my Iron Thunders before they inevitably die by something. Wanting to moving my AMPVs around to be a bit more aware of any potential cruise strikes coming in, and getting my Shore nice and close to the front line in case we need to use it. Here we go. I'm not even sure if the PFAS did anything then, but I hear them shooting. They're doing that really nice brap sound, which is, you know, always nice to hear. They shot 80 shots, so maybe they killed something with Bruce, who knows. Just pulling my Bradley back right now to get it a bit of nice and repaired and ready to go to move up towards K again. Yeah, you know, overall, fairly standard game. Not much is happening right now. Opponent hasn't really pushed. We've been kind of given full opportunity just to take advantage of all the take advantage of our artillery and just, you know, be a little menace in their backlines. Bringing up my other Sentinel, as I believe the last one probably went back from expiring. Iron Thunder's sitting static. You know, big thing for myself at least, and I'll make a note of this to bring up later, that of course, not being too hard because it's my first match actually bringing proper artillery, but any second that it's not doing anything is a second when we're kind of like wasting time. And it's fair to say that we have a very good idea where the enemy's units are, and I could just be bombing those buildings, you know. At this point, what am I losing? Supplies, and that's it. And I'm potentially killing their stuff, so, you know. Bringing up my Sentinel to get a little bit closer to the front line to get a nice view into stuff. Signaling any, you know, particular type of unit holdouts for my teammates. Got quite a number of units up towards D. Just moving my stingers back because we really, at this point now, we don't really need them there, just by the fact that we there's already, you know, a skyscraper filled with them, and I could be pivoting him a bit towards my side of the map to kind of keep that nice strong AA net. Probably too late to be bringing in my F-35 as we're all about to shoot the shit out of this this big blob of dudes. Of AA pieces. Just contributing my own iron funders to that big flurry of missiles that will be landing very soon. Do I actually get the kill? Yeah, I do. That's wicked. Awesome. Yay. It's fun to shoot stuff with artillery. Who would have guessed, you know? Yeah, you know, if I could take a moment just to kind of talk about some other stuff, that'd be wicked. Like, I just want to say, you know, big thank you to anyone who's still around and watching these videos. I'm having a lot of fun making them. It's been really, you know, enjoyable little project that I'm doing in my downtime at night and stuff. And it's helping me as well, you know, find the time and opportunity to play Broken Arrow. Because this game is really fun. It's just sometimes you kind of get, you know, you get busy with life and all that good stuff. I'm hoping in the future, as I kind of get a bit more experience at the game, I'm going to be able to contribute a bit more. So I feel like in some way I'm lacking in my actual analysis of the match themselves. I'm more or less just kind of like narrating what I was doing at the time and how I was feeling and stuff, which is, you know, in a way what a match review is for. But yeah, I hope you understand what you're saying, and a valuable listening. But okay, you know, and enough of that sloppiness. Let's get back to the game. At this point, as I mentioned before, I kind of deviate from my plan of rigging up, you know, keeping a very balanced amount of units and all that yap. And I'm actually preparing for a bit of assault now, bringing up some combat engineers and some additional snipers to get a nice view into the other side of the map. Yeah, we're having a very strong phase 2. We're experiencing not many issues outside of a little bit of bugs here and there, or we're just kind of, yeah, we have the tempo and it's in our control. Using my iron funders to go and smash down onto that building right there, and noticing now on the left we've got a little bit of some sneaky helicopters coming to be cheeky little boys and sneak around into our backline, which I think a number of us do notice, and I'm bringing up some killer eggs to hopefully deal with those. Really weird bug going on right here, and it kind of looks like the yeah, now I can probably see it. It does look like the laser isn't properly rendering, and it's actually setting the point to be behind that building when it was actually supposed to be the building itself. Calling off some extra snipers to get them to run up and hopefully get some really nice views into the other side of the river. And yeah, communicating with my team, which is always super important. You need to communicate. And yeah, maybe that's also a thing I can actually talk about with this match. We were actually surprisingly, like, we were not on comms at all, but we're working together quite well, and we're, you know, at least I'm looking out for my teammate on the left, and I'm doing effective comms and stuff. So hopefully, you know, deal with a bit of the stuff that's going on. Another heli push, which I mistakenly misread, and I think that that orange push is actually up for the earlier push, and so I start sending my killer eggs over there to kind of provide them a bit of support. Could definitely be moving my own shore-ride unit to this side of the map a lot earlier, as at this point we have a whole left flank is more or less open up, and they're just going to be able to fly all their shit right through with no real issue. A little bit of killer egg gameplay coming in at the perfect time, able to shoot off a little missile and get an easy kill. Probably the most successful killer egg strike I've ever done. Huge armor push coming towards that side of the map. And I'm kind of moving my iron funders around, getting them all filled up, ready to kind of provide some counter battery on that side. Noticing a little bit of a sneaky boy running around there, so moving up my AMPV to hopefully kind of deal with that. 3 players all pushing or doing a big push onto my teammate my lone teammate on here on F, which really is, you know, like goes to show that we could definitely be pushing. Oh, yep, here we go. Yeah, at this point we definitely could be pushing our E and C objectives, as there's so much attention for our opponents being centered on the F objective. And as soon as I make the effort to bring up my bloody use my artillery on that incoming push on F, we have a single helicopter be a little cheeky little shit and destroy my paladins and my pack system. And you know, because of that, I'm moving all my units around, kind of scattering them a bit so we don't have any cruise strikes coming in. Of course, probably giving my opponent a bit too much credit. For some reason my AMPV doesn't really have line of sight at this location, even though it looks like he does. So I kind of bring him around a bit and hopefully get line of sight, which we do, and kind of shoot it down a little bit. There we go, pulling back my AMPV to get it resupplied. Looks like yeah, here we go, a lovely little bug that's happening as I'm trying to load up my snipers into that you know, little vehicle, and it's just bugging out completely.
Already there. Copy. Relocating.
Very juicy target on the left over there, which I don't think I do. Yeah, here we go. I don't bring my F-35 to go and deal with that T-14 blob on the left, which my teammate is, you know, dealing with, but I'm pretty sure I bring out the F-35 to deal with that S-300 that's been sit just directly in the road, completely in view of our my laser. Would have been good to have my paladin at this point, but the opponent did a good job sneaking into our backlines and destroying all that shit. This is the annoying shit about this game. We got little shit like this where, like, you know, shit just gets stuck in the open, not doing anything for no reason, just stuck dancing in circles.
Snipers here.
Doing my best to move the laser to get a bit of a read on these Tor squads running up. I don't know if they're called the Russian Tor. We'll call them Russian Tors. Using both bombs from my F-35, kind of miss up the micro there and don't correctly set up the strike properly. At least I don't think I do. We'll figure out. It looks like I have made a mistake there. The question is, will I be able to get these bombs dropped before do we? Not both of them. But surprisingly, the AA doesn't hit us, and we can kind of come around for another strike with the other bomb, which is awesome. And I get all the kills right before the end of the phase.
Changing course.
Probably, you know, in all honesty, yeah, probably at this point we're probably pissing off that guy quite a bit. like holy shit. It'd be getting quite bad, because every single time he brings up any of his AA pieces, we're just artillerying it or bombing it. Finally dropping off some snipers and hopping him in this building. Not really the best location, but, you know, it is what it is. Those snipers could have been going up to one of the other skyscrapers just on the left there, on the north side of F. But, you know, always room for improvement. We've got 3 snipers more or less all looking at the exact same section of the map when it could be more or less anywhere else. Bringing up my F-35 for I'm not entirely sure what reason. I'm guessing to bomb some of his infantry, but that's almost always. And I think I do, you know, change my mind and I bring the F-35 back here, just wait for anything else. Anything a bit more juicy and interesting to shoot.
Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast.
Really poor. Not necessarily, you know, we're just doubling up on sniper locations. Now that I'm noticing, I can just see those 2 snipers in the church and then that big ass building. Not really doing anything. Bunch of T-80s building up on this side of the map. Should be really spreading those bombs around a little bit more, and I don't think we actually get kill confirmed from that, just by the fact that they're a little bit off. Do we? When you kill one of them. But, you know, end of phase 2. Huge kill lead. moving into phase 3. Very strong position as well. I completely misclick my Bradley and I bring him up here, but no one's really doing anything to stop me. So yeah, why not just shoot like crazy and try and deal with those snipers right there. Moving the lasers around to help my teammates' artillery. Probably could be lasering that Spetsnaz team right there, but that's fine. Bringing up another AMPV to prepare for the push. We really didn't need to. We probably could have pushed to K to just score even more points on the primary score in the last round, but at this point we're kind of just chilling. Moving my recon vehicle into the forest to kind of provide a little bit of a warning system. This is the downside of changing your micro, because your dude begins to spaz out and not really do anything. Changing the laser location onto those tanks. Now that's interesting, you can only have one unit lasering a single unit. That's kind of, that's curious. Lav completely unloading on those vessels there. I didn't realize they could shoot infantry. That might be a force fire. And yeah, overall, fairly chill. We've definitely got this game in our bag. We've got a huge kill lead. Unless we, unless something majorly, unless we would make some pretty huge misplays at this point, we're not going to be losing this match. We've got a super strong front line. It's insanely strong front line. We've got map recon. We have a nice supply net. Our AA is doing its AA thing. And yeah, I'm aware I do say "and" a lot, and so I probably need to fix that. But yeah, and you go a bit more communication. Always talk to your teammate. Team. It's weird, right? Like in this game, it didn't feel like I was playing with people at the same ELO as me. I felt like we were all kind of playing quite locked in and we're really good. We got these really nice combos and shit and stuff. Like we got good unit compositions. We've got good AA. It would have been terrific to have like another another opponent to fight, so the enemy had a full team stack, so we could probably go against a full barrage of Russian shit. But yeah, finally getting a bit sick of it all. There's 10 minutes left on the clock. 10 minutes left on the clock, so we make the effort of actually pushing my units up. Definitely don't need that smoke there. It's only probably it would be good if we were actually versing a properly stacked team and we could fairly assume that there would be stuff over there, but there's really nothing at this point that we can see. So just eat all the units in. Control F, fast move onto a location to capture it. Could probably stage the attack a bit better, because at the moment now my Delta Force will be moving in, which they're not equipped for close combat, so the combat engineer should probably be leading that. But yeah, it's fine. Still too terrified to bring my tanks up. A lot of little dudes trying to sneak around to the left side of the map. But of course, I'm not paying any attention over there because I'm too focused on my own guys. I might head into the next game and implement a rule, or like maybe a timer or something, where if I haven't actually used a unit, or it hasn't been used or hasn't been moved around in like 5 minutes, I just sell it. Because those Delta Force at the back, I guess they are there for a defensive line, but at this point, yeah, it's like could really be better situation. could be using those points for other shit. Ugh. Enemies bringing in the completely insane helicopter push coming up, but I managed to get my mech engineers out and my AMPV. Not entirely sure why I'm sending the Delta Force up that way, but I've rammed the Morse teams just into the corner there to kind of provide a bit of to hide them in that corner, so hopefully they don't get seen by these helicopters, because at this moment there's really nothing that they can do. Yeah, it's like helicopters are going to do the helicopter thing, and unfortunately I made a big infantry push with mech and stuff without any AA, and this is what happens. Now I'm kind of realize, probably should bring up a bit more stingers, so we start doing that, and I think we go a stinger unit and then 2 stingers and then some rangers, just as an extra chunky infantry dude to do shit with. Very surprised that they didn't fly to this side of the map, but they probably got scared off by all the AA in those buildings in particular. Now this would have been a great, you know, if I had those AA in that building with all the snipers, that would have been awesome, but, you know, it's fine. Teammates doing an awesome job of bringing up a lav with his AA on to provide a bit of cover and fire for any AA there. For any helicopters, sorry, that come in. Do get the vibe that opponents are starting to get a little bit tilted here with the amount of shit that's going on. Like they're just gonna do a YOLO cruise missile strikes then, and I don't think they get a single thing. I'm being an absolute weasel at this point and sneaking my Morse teams to be hiding under that bridge. So they can't be really seen by anything now, just kinda being little weasels hiding there. I considered doing the same thing with my MPV unit, but decided against it, just to keep him in that objective in case he decides to run something there, because I don't have any other units there outside of the more teams, and ideally want to keep them alive as long as possible, because at some point there will be some T14s and T15s. Maybe some boomerangs rushing up to this point, and it would be terrific to pop them. Setting up some additional, moving up my Rangers squad now with my AMPV to push K. As you know, moving to E has kind of demonstrated that they got very few frontline units at the moment, and it's like, yeah, why not? Let's make an effort to, you know, we've more or less won this game, but if I'm able to push the line of control, or even get the contested zone even to their side of the map, if they were somehow to do an insane thunder run, then they kind of have to do with that initial wave, capture their own objectives, and then also make the effort to push into our lines. So it's kind of like, you know, creating like a bit of a defensive buffer by being aggressive. You know, funny that. Insane amount of units amassing on the left side of the map now, and I think we all as a team kind of noticed that. We've got some T-80s, some Terminators, and some artillery pieces. All being cheeky boys are just moving them up. Which is, you know, it's always good to stage near the front line. I mean, it's never a good idea to stage near the front line, because, you know, this is going to happen. You're going to be bombed immediately. So, yeah, rule to everyone, stage your units far back, and then move into position. I'm bringing in both my F-35s at this point, as I think artillery and also clusters coming in. Clusters just to bomb the shit out of this stuff. Hopefully, I can, yeah, we get it. Get these bombs off on these dudes. Here we go. Boom, get them. And the next lot of bombs come into the Terminators. They do damage, they don't kill, because I think they did actually hit the building right there, but we do enough damage to kind of panic him a bit. Very surprised that my AMPV is still alive at this point. It goes to show that there's really nothing else, you know, opponents aren't really doing anything else on this side of the map. So might as well bring up my additional reinforcements. We've made it across the bridgehead. We're now on this side. Getting my Rangers into the skyscraper to provide a bit of overwatch while I move my AMPV up to capture the point. Team opponents absolutely pissing shit and vinegar because they're now accusing us of, you know, being cheaters. I, of course, in my gracious wisdom, start taunting them back and you know, suggest that they should post it on the Discord so they can get everyone. So they can get everyone to be like, oh my god, you know, this game is shit, everyone's cheating, and then I can post this recording and be like, oh, I am the superior Giga Chat who knows everything. Even though that's cringy shit. But yeah, it's unironically true, the meme is fair. Like, it's not just, you're not versing cheaters, you just got shit recon. So like, yeah, it's just what it is. Initially I decided to my plan was to bring these Rangers to kind of, you know, weasel in that corner right there so I can hop them out and kind of, you know, can shoot their rockets to deal with anything that's coming down that street. But I see this, you know, S300 just like moving down the road, expecting it to go elsewhere, but it just stops and, you know, stays stationary. And at this point I'm like, maybe that would be a good little target to get some Rangers at. But my attention is distracted at this point, as is a kind of a thunder run coming from C and E. Definitely like a YOLO play for him, so I'm bringing up some Comanches to provide some additional assistance. And this is good to know in regards to this side of the map, the fact that the geometry and is a bit funky, and so we can't really see this T14, and it takes us a bit to actually move into the correct position to be able to unload on them, which we do, which saves our poor AMPV turning around as it's about to be popped. Moving my Morse teams back to get them out of line of sight of anything coming nearby. Another big thunder run coming from H. And this is when I finally go, oh, you know what, screw it, let's just go and fast move those Rangers up to where that S300 is. Like, what are they going to do? I've got some Stinger teams nearby, they can run over and capture K if need be, or even get a unit on there to, be a bit stationary. Getting my Morse team out of that building into the AMPV to provide a little bit extra armor. Changing the location of my laser onto those Cornet teams. Cornets, there we go, I remembered them. Honestly, for a second, I thought that missile was coming from my Rangers. But, always interesting when that happens. Like, oh shit, can this actually target me? Fuck. Yeah, also, fun fact, guys. I've had some of my videos age restricted. Funny that. Well, not proper age restriction, but I have breached YouTube's restricted policy guideline, so it will only be shown to people above the age of 18 and who aren't logged in. So that's fun to know that YouTube now does that, which would go to explain why some of my videos have got absolutely no views for whatever reason. The AI god has decided that that video doesn't get seen by anyone. Somewhere my Rangers war peak is popped, but we can run the Rangers out to slowly capture H. Probably shouldn't be swearing in this episode for sure. We'll see if this one gets age restricted as well. No, sorry, we don't get age restricted. I get caught up in the restricted mode sensor or whatever, and we'll see what happens there. If this one does. But my current video is actually doing quite well, and if you're watching this one after watching the other one, thank you. Good to have you here. Everyone's been talking mad shit about Rangers. They say they're kind of stinky, but look at that. A single Ranger squad out in the open is dealing with 2 Cornet squads. To be fair, they are at low health, but literally just killed them. Just straight up killed them. Like, standing out in the open with nothing to stop them. Bringing up my AMPV to help capture H, because I'm surprisingly very small hit, I guess hitbox or whatever for those guys. For the actual objective to capture it. Popping my smoke to not get double spanked by those Cornets as I go and capture H. Decided to YOLO my F-22 to try and deal with some of those helicopters on the left side of the map, which is kind of, I don't know why I did that. Well, F-22, yeah. I've got 2 Sidewinders, and that's how I'm going to deal with these planes, by just hitting this 440 point model into this, hitting this model for no reason. Thankfully, I think it does survive. Moving my Morse teams up into this building to be another weasel and get these T-15s, but, there we go. Some Spectres in there, and that's game. Honestly, not too shabby on our part, but we can't start boasting too much when the opponent team was counter player, so that always plays a bit of big effect. Alright KD, but it's never necessarily good to base all your game's performance off having a very high KD. Saying that though, it goes to show that when a team's kind of working together and everyone's putting in their part and holding a line, it really makes a huge difference. Particularly Recon, like holy shit, just that whole game was more or less determined by Recon. We were able to, just from having those snipers up in those skyscrapers, we were able to get such an insane vision just into their entire line, and we were able to respond to threats before they really ran into our face. Overall thinking like solid phase 1. I think my plan going into the game about not over committing on units and keeping a little bit of a bank of points to be able to use my F-35s worked really well. It didn't really work going into phase 2, but as a counterpoint to that, we started using a bit more points. I started using all my points to build up a little expositionary force, or a pushing force to go onto their side of the map. Considering the the standard of defenses they did have. We probably could have pushed that a bit earlier, but nonetheless, it was our game to lose, so we more or less played it correctly. Coming from a different perspective, not even that. Phase 3, that was it's just the moment we got across into the other side of the map. We just had complete control. We were able to kind of, at least with our war pigs, to send the war pig of the Rangers directly back into where their artillery line is. It was pretty bad for the poor guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name or which one it was exactly, but definitely made a few people tilt with our recon, considering we were considered cheaters. But hey, the meme is actually real. Like, we're not cheating. We're actually just using recon effectively. Surprising that, a few things that probably did really well. I'm happy. My plan going into the game worked quite well. Of spending phase 1 preparing our front line, getting the necessary units, moving into phase 2 to really either contest objectives or push. There wasn't really much pushing on the opponent's side, and I'm sure that would be distinctly related to them being down a player. But so we weren't really put in a position where we were able to kind of defend against a push and then do a counter charge ourselves. Phase 3 was fairly good. We got that nice airstrike cluster wombo combo off on the left. Definitely, thinking about the left side of the map, definitely could have been providing additional assistance to my teammate, particularly since he had such a large area. And when we did have enemy units appear in our backline, that was solely due to him not having enough units to cover that flank, particularly on the shore ride front. Even if you've got a single mech AA team or whatever, you can't deal with 6 or 7 helis all going at once. Saying that, it was a good idea to bring those killer eggs in, because I think they did help a lot on the left side. Similarly, probably could have spent a little bit of points and brought some stingers over to that side of the map, but all is done. And if there's anything that you guys have seen or things that I've noticed that I probably could have improved on or done better, definitely please let me know. And unfortunately, Broken Arrow is sometimes a game where you don't necessarily go into a match having a full team balance, and that sucks for the other team, but we try and do our best nonetheless. And at least in this case, we did kind of get a win out of it, which is awesome. Hopefully this continues and I can finally get to a little bit higher elo. In a weird way, I guess it goes to show that just because you're in a lower elo or a higher elo, it just comes down to teamwork and working with your teammates, and really building a strong defensive line and not kind of getting tilted. I wouldn't be surprised if the dark red and red guy would have been probably playing a lot better if they just didn't get tilted from the fact that our recon could just see all their shit. So, lesson to be learnt: if you're going to be doing your staging, stage your units away from where enemy recon could potentially see you. And that's kind of it. Thank you, of course, for watching. Please like and subscribe if that's your thing. I'll be getting another one of these out next week. Having a lot of fun making these videos, and hope to see you all next time. Glad you took the time to watch the vid, and see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Scrub out.